Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Adrienne Montgomery. I'm with ERP VAR, and today we're going to be talking about Acumatica, how to automate and scale AP operations and advanced analytics with AI. I'm so pleased to be joined by Tapalti and UBIX. As I mentioned, we have Sad from Tapalti here. He's the Alliance Manager, and we're also joined by Tony Levy. He's the VP of Product Development over at UBIX. And just a little bit about the companies before we get started. Tapalti is responsible for automating the whole payables process. They're modernizing the archaic practice within the business world of all of the manual processes that go along with AP. And they're just more than just technology. Behind the platform, they know what payables is all about. That's what they focus on. That's their core competency. It includes employees, suppliers, partners, company leaders, and they know that people just have gotten used to the status quo, and they know they can save a lot of time with all the manual processes behind AP. And that's what Sad's going to talk about today. With UBIX, it's a data science platform. It's designed to allow business users and subject matter experts solve complex analytic problems without having to hire those expensive data scientists. It uses the data in Acumatica to enable users of all skill levels to contribute to the development of artificial intelligence inside Acumatica at scale. And I'm going to go ahead and let Sad here kick it off with Tapalti. Thank you so much, Sad.
Well, thank you. Thanks to everyone for joining our presentation today on global AP automation. Very excited to present today and to have everyone here. So I'll start off with a quick intro. My name is Sad, and I am an Alliance Manager with Tapalti. I'm located out of our Vancouver office, and I am responsible for our Acumatica Alliance Development Initiative. A little bit of background, I actually graduated in accounting and finance, and I've always had a passion for numbers and just basically understanding how real-time data can help companies make financial decisions. As you may notice by my accent, I actually grew up in the Mediterranean, and I was able to learn and pick up 7 languages, so I'm very lucky to be able to work with companies around the world. But I'm also very surprised sometimes to see how their finance departments work, because they have so much potential and just refuse to modernize their finance functions. First thing I would like to say, I've learned that there are 2 ways to make people in finance upset. One, to mess up their Excel sheets, or to make them sit through a PowerPoint presentation. So that said, we will try to keep this as light and informative as possible. And as Adrienne mentioned, we welcome any questions or comments after the presentation. So AP is consistently ranked by financial executives as the single most time-consuming function in finance. And our solution is basically designed to help solve this issue and create a closed-loop process with your ERP. As a company, we're really focused on 2 principles: being able to help finance teams move beyond manual payables processes, allowing your team to focus on more strategic initiatives, and also ensure that our customers are successful in the long term. And we will show you how we are able to do this. Let's talk a little bit about the accounts payable process and the supplier payments operations and how they look today. So onboarding suppliers is often done manually via phone or email, which isn't secure. And because the process of collecting bank details is manual, nearly 50% of companies have a payment error rate of 3% or higher. Processing invoices is also very manual, with many companies buried by paper invoices that require manual rekeying into ERPs. And then time is spent chasing down approvals, which is why the average all-inclusive cost to process an invoice is pretty high, and it's actually around $20 to process an invoice. And then on the payment front, you may be dealing with suppliers who prefer paper checks or expensive wires, which adds more paperwork and manual efforts. A lot of time is spent on supplier communications, from payment status inquiries to issuing resolutions for rejected payments, and at month, quarter, and year end, reconciling with your accounting system is also pretty time consuming. On the tax front, nearly 50% of companies don't collect tax forms until the year end, or don't even collect them at all. But the IRS has been hiring auditors to really crack down on tax compliance, and has increased the penalties for not submitting either 1099s or 1042s in the correct format by the required deadline. So the finance team has to worry about that too. On top of all of that, you're having to keep track of changes of mailing addresses, banking details, and keeping your vendor master file clean. These are challenges that can have a real big impact on your business. Before we kind of get into more of the technical side of Tipalti, I wanted to just give you a high level overview of who we are. So our name Tipalti means we took care of it, not to be mistaken with Chipotle. And we currently have over 2,000 customers, transacting over $30 billion annually for well over 4 million payees around the world. We have received 550 million in funding up to date, which puts our valuation at around 8.3 billion. And we've actually doubled in employee count since last year. We're continuing to grow very, very fast. Our headquarters are in San Mateo, California. I'm located at our Vancouver office. We have another office in London, England, an office in Tel Aviv, Israel. We just opened an office this year in Toronto, in Plano, Texas, and we're going to be opening another office in mainland Europe this year as well. So a lot of growth, a lot of excitement happening here. What you see on your screen here is what we call the AP wheel. And this does a good job of just illustrating our strong suits and how we can automate virtually any payables process from end to end. And it all starts with what we call our supplier management and tax compliance. There's a lot of customers that we run into, and they're really struggling with collecting the right payment details. So it ends up a lot of time creating payment errors on these customers' back ends, or they get to the tax season and they realize that they're missing a whole bunch of W-9s, things along those lines. Constant email communication, playing phone tag with various vendors. So we want to eliminate these sort of problems before they ever really come into play. The way that we're going to do that is with a white labeled self-service onboarding portal. So white labeled in that this is all going to be your branding, your color scheme, and the vendors are actually going to onboard themselves. This way, the AP team, they don't have to go out, reach out to them and say, hey, I need your bank details, this and that. We're going to walk them through this really simple 3-step onboarding process. So we have our fictitious demo company here. From here, the first tab is really going to be the kind of who, what, where. We're going to collect email, physical address, if they want us to collect names, phone numbers, whatever they want. And we're actually going to bump all this information up against sanction lists, blacklists, watch lists, basically going to make sure that you're not paying anybody that you shouldn't be paying, just to cover you from an OFAC perspective. And next, we're going to drive them to what payment methods are available for them to choose from. So if a company is located in the US, ACH is going to pop up as a payment method option. Now, this is going to change depending on where the vendors are located, but also what the company would like to offer. And we take it one step further. We actually know what details are needed per payment method in whichever country they are located. So this allows the finance team not have to deal with a lot of back and forth with vendors, validating misinformation, to eliminate payment errors, and just have clean information upfront. So in this situation, let's just say that I type in the Bank of America SWIFT code, but for some reason I made a mistake. We actually bumped it up against a whole list of valid SWIFT codes, and we're saying, hey, wait a second, this isn't valid. We're not even going to let them go on to the next tab until we fix this layer. So we have these sort of rules across all different payment methods in different countries as well. Next, on the concept of tax compliance, very similar notion in the sense of we're preventing downstream errors as well. So we actually have the ability to collect W-8 and W-9s. So it's a digitized version of the W-9, but we're doing some cool things in the background. One is just collecting this in a nice, secure location. We have a lot of customers where when we first meet them, they're collecting this in usually like some sort of a public or semi-public email inbox. You don't necessarily want things like social security numbers and such floating around those. So this is a nice secure portal where we're collecting it. The other thing though that we're really doing here is TIN validation. So taking the EIN, taking the social security number as well as the name that they provide us, bumping that up against the IRS database just to ensure and check to see if they are who they are, they say. This will eliminate B notices that you might get at the end of the year. So just helping eliminate that workload. Next is the policy is designed to be able to ingest traditional invoice-backed AP spend very quickly, have that coded, routed for approval and pay. We support multiple flavors of PO matching within our instance of the policy. That includes two-way and three-way PO matching at the line level. So an invoice can get into the system in a couple of different ways. So the vendor can upload it into their portal. They can upload an invoice in various supported formats that we provide. They can also send it in via snail mail, and the finance team could scan it onto the computer and upload it into the system. Or probably the most common way that we see this being done is via email. So usually we'll set up one for the team, or if they already have something like this set up for an invoice specific email inbox. So for example, in ERPVAR situation, maybe invoices at erpvar.com, something like that. Our system can actually sit on top of that email inbox and pull out all of the attachments. You'll see that the PDF of the invoice here pops up, and we're going to use OCR, so optical character recognition, to capture all that information on this invoice. So the invoice number, date, all of the line item details. We're also going to be able to mirror any fields that you have in your ERP. So if you're using a project or a department for an expense account, whatever it might be, just know that that can be mirrored here as well. And as you probably know, OCR is just not going to be 100% accurate. It's still a computer. It's trying to do its best, and it's getting better every year, but it's going to make mistakes. That's why we complement our OCR technology with machine learning and with AI. So we're really able to achieve super high accuracy. So we're talking about 99.5% accuracy across the board, across all the fields. So that really by the time the finance team are reviewing this invoice, their job is a quick look at it before moving on. So the main goal here is just to eliminate that manual entry that could be required. Now once we have coded everything, we're going to set up an approval workflow. What we're going to do is we're going to use machine learning, or what we call our Sapalti Pi here, to recommend an approval sequence. So it's going to look at cloud.com here, which is the vendor, and say, okay, for the past 3 invoices that cloud.com sent in, we sent it to Erica, then to Angie, and then the controller for approval. So it's just going to auto-populate the sequence here. You can also set up additional rules on top of this and easily add additional approvers. So anything over a certain dollar amount has to include a certain individual. Every time it comes in, or invoices allocated to marketing has to include a certain individual. Basically, we can teach the system all these different rules, and this is meant to really provide some automation so that I can recommend it for you and you don't have to figure it out. And then once we're ready, we can hit submit, and this is gonna kick off in a sequential order here. And there is really 2 ways to approve invoices within the system. So the first is going to be within the UI in the AP Hub. And this allows individuals to approve in mass. I can single select, multi-select, select all, filter however I want. And the other way to approve is via email. And this is going to be great for your department heads, your C-suite members, the people who need to approve these bills, but maybe they don't want to go through the change management, teaching them a new system. So for those guys, they will receive this email communication, have line level detail, has kind of a history of who's already approved it, who's going to approve it next, then the actual invoice that they can click in for more detail, and these really simple buttons. So approve the bill, they can update the geocoding if we give them the correct permissions. They can send it back to AP with a note saying, hey, this wasn't coded correctly or something along those lines. Or you can even dispute the bill directly with the vendor and send them an email. So this is all going to be done from this email. You never have to log into the policy system to do this. So it just makes it really easy to approve invoices. And on the 6 o'clock portion here, highlighting the fact that not only are we, of course, a SaaS software company, but we're also a licensed money transmitter. So you see the stats here. We can remit payments in 196 countries, 120 currencies, and 6 different payment methods. As long as you're not paying somewhere like North Korea or Myanmar or Cuba, we're good to go. So any country basically that the US sanctions, we're unable to make payments to, but the rest we're able to provide payments to. So the reason this company was founded and created was to make payments in mass and scale. So that's what we've been doing from the beginning. That's our DNA. And then around that, over the last 10 years, have enhanced ability for AP invoice back workflows, for example. What I like to tell people about global remittance when they compare and contrast us to legacy environments is gone are the days of carrying around different authentication tools, uploading a wire template to the bank depending on who that vendor is or which currencies. And that's because we've consolidated the payout function within our tool. So here's where you really can see Tapalti's power from a payment processing perspective. We're paying across all these different IDs, paying across different vendors, across different currencies, and in this example, in different payment methods as well. And it's all from one place. So it's all centralized. You don't have to upload different files into different banking portals or different payment methods. We do also have an additional kind of financial control that we can put into place. This is the payment approval. So this would allow you or whoever it may be to go in here and review and make sure everything looks okay before giving the kind of rubber stamp of approval. You can also go in at the line level too. So invoice by invoice and say, you know what, this specific company owes me money. I'm going to cancel just this particular invoice. And if I did that, then it would just push this invoice back into the pending payment tab as kind of an inventory of invoices for you to batch later, but it will still keep the rest of the batch intact. So it's really flexible from that point of view. Now, second portion here is intercompany and FX. So because we are paying out in mass for our customers, I mean, we're on an annual basis right now, as I mentioned, pushing 30 billion for payment rails. Now, what that means is we're able to offer our customers very competitive FX rates that can potentially turn into hard dollar cost savings, apart from the time savings you will see with our solution. Now, that can be done through on-the-fly currency conversions, meaning vendor gives me an invoice in euros. I only hold US dollars. I want their payment to land in euros. That's one option. We can also facilitate bulk currency conversions. So if the same customer pays a lot of euro invoices, then for instance, maybe they want to hold a euro currency account. Maybe they need to convert their US dollars. We can facilitate all of that through our solution. And last but not least, reconciliation and reporting. So we have best-in-class integration with multiple ERPs. But bottom line, the point is we want to be the single source of truth for onboarding the vendors and going forward. So when a given bill is fully approved, it's going to be synced to the ERP. And that's the open invoice, the open liability, and your debit to either an asset or to an expense account. And then the other point here is that because we're able to consolidate all these payments across currencies, payment methods in one system, then it really sets the team up for success in terms of banking reconciliations. The last thing I'll mention here is because we digitize the collection of the tax forms that we talked about earlier. So when we we're actually able to marry up the payments that we're making on our client's behalf to those taxpayers' digitized information. This is going to facilitate year-end 1099 and 1042S reporting. Plus, you want to have visibility into your spend. So whether it's the controller or the CFO, you want to have visibility at any time on your open liabilities and spend that's going out the door. So we look at compliance and controls and visibility into that entire process as one of our core key goals as well. We've built in reports to provide you with the visibility with all types of filters to choose from. And yeah, it's very, very seamless. So here is a snapshot of some specific ROI examples from our customers. So Touch of Modern, which is a men's fashion company, it went from 6 million to 150 million annual revenue without having to add any AP resources by using Tipalti. Zola, which is a wedding registry company, handling over 100 million in payments. They kept their AP staff at 2 instead of 10 as they had projected, just by using our solution. Uptake, which is an industrial analytics platform, they saved 600 hours a year and eliminated 2 days from month-end close processes by using our solution. And last but not least, Foursquare, which is a location technology platform. They were able to accelerate financial close by 16 days. So I'm happy to introduce you to my team to explain how we can deliver similar results for your organization as well. And that actually takes me to the end of my presentation. So I want to thank you for the time you've spent here listening to my presentation on our solution. I just want to mention that anyone who's going to be attending the Acumatica Summit this coming weekend, we are a gold sponsor at the Acumatica Summit. We'll be in booth number 49. So please stop by, say hi. We have a prize wheel. We're actually also having a scavenger hunt. So you're able to win, I believe it's $1,500 in cash. And last but not least, my favorite event that's happening actually is I am hosting a small party on Tuesday that's held actually at the Wynn Sportsbook. That's happening after the closing ceremony. I would be delighted for anyone here that's able to join us. We're going to have some cocktails, we're going to have some food, but those are all secondary when you can bet on some exciting sports games. There's going to be some tennis matches, there's going to be some basketball games as well. So I'll be sending an email after the presentation at some point today. If you're able to make it, if you're interested, you can just respond to my email so I can add you to the list. So you're more than welcome to join us. But again, thank you very much for your time.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dad. And Tony, you are up.
Listen, to all of our viewers, welcome. My name is Tony Levy. I'm the Vice President of Product Management at UBIX, and on behalf of UBIX, let me just say that we're thrilled and excited to be here today in partnership with ERP VAR and Tipalti to describe how you can add new capabilities to your existing Acumatica infrastructure in order to unlock new business value in these uncertain times. Let me just get my screen working here. There we go. So think of UBIX as an advanced analytics and data science platform. It's designed to help business users and domain experts such as business analysts, financial analysts, demand planners, inventory analysts, production planners, and others solve analytic challenges that were really never possible before. And to do this fast, reliably, and affordably. This is really the next big wave in unlocking business value for mid-market companies in all industries and all geographies. And so the question is, why is this important? Why now and why UBIX? The short answer is unprecedented volatility, uncertainty, and risk. In a world like today, where demand for products is uncertain, where supply is at risk, and input commodity prices are highly volatile, every company in every geography, every industry really needs new analytic tools and disciplines to anticipate and shape business outcomes more effectively. Now, traditional ERP and reporting tools alone cannot address the analytic opportunities that exist from the front office to the back office, from customer analytics and demand planning to production and procurement. UBIX extends Acumatica to empower the business user to address these high-value analytic challenges with data science and advanced analytics. And we offer compelling pre-built analytic solutions from our solution library across a range of use cases to help you get started quickly, reliably, and affordably. Now, modern business systems like Acumatica are already providing flexible, on-demand digitization of core business operations, in a sense, driving what we call digital transformation. Now, with the advent of data science and advanced analytics, organizations can now analyze unprecedented volumes of data from disparate sources faster, continuously, and cost-effectively to drive new insights throughout the enterprise. We call this the era of the intelligent business, where intelligent processes and applications tap into both internal and external data to generate new insights and foresight to drive intelligent action and generate big business impact. Now, UBIX helps you create this intelligent business by transforming the way you monitor, the way you measure and analyze operational and financial data to drive timely, more effective decision-making. In a sense, UBIX helps you move from the left side of the slide to the right side of the slide, from an over-reliance on human intuition in making decisions to deriving new insights automatically from data to augment human judgment. For example, if today you create demand forecasts using human judgment alone, then with UBIX, you enable advanced algorithms to create more reliable demand forecasts based on historical data, as well as causal drivers, which are external, such as weather or consumer price indices. Not only are the machine-generated forecasts more accurate, but when done well, they remove bias that is often found in human judgment alone. You then reconcile human judgment with the machine-generated forecasts, you make final adjustments, and submit the final forecast to the plan of record. UBIX helps you shift from an over-reliance on manual spreadsheets and traditional reporting tools to leverage modern cloud analytics and automation that includes proven algorithms that operate on more granular data, for example, down to the item level, as well as external data to create new insights, new inferences, and predictions that were simply not possible before. With UBIX, you shift from an over-reliance solely on historical internal data in making decisions to augmenting that historical data with external causal drivers to create new insights and drive business impact. So as I mentioned, UBIX is an advanced analytics platform. It manages the end-to-end data science lifecycle and bridges the gap between business users and experts that are called, for example, data scientists or data engineers, the Python developers, right? This is a whole category of experts that are frankly very hard to hire, very hard to retain. And while there are other data science platforms out there, they focus on Python developers and data scientists, whereas we, UBIX, focus on domain experts such as business analysts, financial analysts, demand planners, and more. We believe that until the domain expert is brought into the analytics process, data science will simply not be abundant, reliable, and cost-effective. Now, with UBIX, companies can leverage Acumatica and existing infrastructure, right? You could be your BI infrastructure, as well as legacy infrastructure, to combine both internal ERP data and external data to generate new insights. Specifically, the platform ingests and assembles these data. We enable business users to build analytic solutions and put these into production. These solutions then create new inferences and predictions and pass these to the appropriate end user application. This way, data science-enabled processes and applications can be built quickly, cost-effectively to deliver timely, reliable foresight to drive intelligent action. In effect, we help you become smarter without having to hire expensive, hard to hire, hard to retain talent. Now, because UBIX is a general purpose data science platform, we address any number of data types and use cases from the front office to the back office. And here we list just a few examples. Customer analytics is about analyzing, for example, a company's e-commerce site, such as transactions, navigation, interaction with various website widgets, and creating analytic models from these that predict the next best action for the user. Perhaps it's a complementary product to purchase along with the target intended product. Perhaps it's a price promotion. The most common goal is to increase share of wallet and reduce customer churn. Accounts receivable collection analytics is about enabling a company to model customer attributes such as firmographics and payment history to infer the likelihood that a customer who has missed a past due invoice will pay in the next period. By segmenting these customers, the AR team can optimize resources and improve collections, reduce collection costs. For example, segment C is a cohort of customers that is very unlikely to pay. These can be sold to an outside collection agency. Segment B may pay, and these are sent a phone call, and segment A are very likely to pay, and these are sent an email. Demand forecasting is the most basic of use case for the majority of hard goods companies, whether a manufacturer, a distributor, or retail. By analyzing order history as well as external factors, we can create a more reliable demand forecast by time period, by SKU, by channel. Imagine what a 30% improvement in forecast accuracy could do for a company in terms of reducing working capital requirements and reducing safety stock levels. Commodity procurement analytics is about using internal procurement data combined with external, for example, commodity index data to create more reliable commodity price forecasts, and when combined with demand, the ability to make better procurement recommendations. A 3 to 5% procurement savings per year drops right down to the bottom line. Finally, as an example here, connected field service is about monitoring sensor data from products used by your customers, such as perhaps appliances or heating and ventilation equipment, any type of equipment that needs repair and spare parts, to detect anomaly and predict failures. This leads to improved spare parts planning, field service scheduling in order to reduce the cost of field service and increase top-line growth for field service revenues. These are just a few examples of how data science and advanced analytics can help Acumatica users unlock business value. Now let me share with you a customer case study. This is a meat processor based in the Midwest. They convert pork and beef and turkey proteins into various packaged goods that for sale into two market segments. The first market segment is the restaurant market, which has experienced significant decline during the pandemic. And the second is the specialty food retail and distribution market, which is seeing significant growth. New CFO joined the company 3 years ago to drive digital transformation. He replaced their legacy ERP and started to build out an analytic foundation using Snowflake as a data lake and Microsoft Power BI as the analytic workbench. This is when we met the CFO, and he told us that their number one business challenge is managing and coping with input commodity price volatility. His company's caught in the middle. On the one hand, they buy proteins on the open market. On the other hand, large retailers are putting price pressure on price. He wants to use analytics to help his procurement team make better buy decisions. And he recognized that his existing analytic foundation was missing a critical component, namely a data science platform to combine both the internal procurement history data with external commodity index data to create models that forecast commodity prices going forward. The output of UBIX feeds both the ERP reporting module as well as Microsoft Power BI as their analytic workbench. There are two use cases with this customer. The first use case creates a reliable commodity price forecast using third-party data and historical data. The second use case is the demand forecast, creates a more reliable demand forecast. And with quantity from the demand forecast and price from the price forecast, we then make a more reliable procurement or quantity times price recommendation. And as you can see, the business value is significant. A 3-cent savings per pound in procurement price is worth $1 million in annual procurement savings for this mid-market company. And this drops right down to the bottom line. The point here is that the ROI in advanced analytics is substantial. And this case study really underscores the reason that data science and advanced analytics is really so critical, particularly in these turbulent times where volatility, uncertainty, and risk are increasing. Advanced analytics can unlock significant business value across a range of business challenges. Now, at the heart of our strategy to deliver value quickly and affordably to mid-market companies is a solution library. Through our own efforts, as well as those of our partners, we have access to hundreds of analytic solutions in a range of industries, from retail and industrials to energy, financial services, and other services. Many of these are built and have been in production for over 20 years. If one of your use cases can be addressed with one of these models, then the implementation effort is very low and the time to value is very fast. Now, we monetize these models and sell them for an annual subscription fee that can range in price depending on the value they unlock. This library of solutions allows you to accelerate your analytics journey and receive value at every step. This journey becomes a self-funding, think of it as a self-funding initiative portfolio, where one use case generates savings and revenue uplift to fund the next use case. For instance, you start by addressing demand planning, create a more reliable demand plan, and then global capacity planning to determine how to fulfill that demand, and then more reliable, feasible production plans that consider capacity constraints in the factory, and then address safety stock levels and routings in the warehouse. And then if you have trucks, optimize logistics and total supply network. You can tackle procurement, as we illustrated in the use case earlier, and then even predictive maintenance of equipment at customer locations. The opportunity to unlock business value is really endless. Demand planning is a great place to start in all companies in hard goods industries, whether manufacturing, distribution, retail. Human judgment alone cannot cope with volatility, uncertainty, and risk. Human judgment not only struggles with variability, but is also subject to bias. And there are many forms of bias. For example, anchoring bias is the tendency to make judgments by reference to a benchmark, which frankly may or may not be relevant. We see this when a forecast is constructed by reference to a target or previous forecast, resulting in underestimating the level of variation or so-called level of randomness of what is really called noise. Confirmation bias is the tendency to seek evidence which confirms beliefs and ignores that which don't. We see this when we remember that we have correctly spotted bias in the forecast created by other people, but not when we ourselves fail. This often justifies the fact that we adjust other people's forecasts. These are just some examples, and there are probably 15 different biases that impact forecasts. So when machine-generated forecast is generated, we then reduce bias significantly. Now, some of you are using traditional statistical forecasting methods with your forecasts. These are largely based on history. They may be adequate at handling fast-moving items, but they don't work well in complex, volatile demand patterns. Demand is impacted by external drivers such as local weather or foot traffic, or local demographics such as age, income level, ethnicity, etc., and consumer tastes, and even social media. Our solution uses data science to combine external and internal data. It avoids overfitting the data by minimizing or pruning out factors that have little or no impact on demand. The solution can apply data science not only at the product store level, but also at different levels of aggregation and with flexible groupings. The value opportunity is significant. Imagine the reductions in working capital requirements if a company can improve their forecast accuracy by 40% and increase inventory turns by 20%. For manufacturers, production planning is another high value use case. Many manufacturers do not take into account, for example, machine capacity in creating production schedules. This leads to infeasible production plans. Monitoring and control of production process is difficult, and rescheduling due to demand fluctuations is complex and almost impossible. And overall plant throughput is low. Our solution creates dynamic, capacity-constrained production plans. Schedules are feasible and more reliable. Reschedules address fluctuating demand more effectively. The net result is faster cycle times and increased plant throughput. We talked earlier about procurement analytics. If your buyers are unable to use commodity price patterns in making effective procurement decisions, if decisions are largely based on intuition, then UBIX can help. Our solutions analyze commodity data, procurement data, buying patterns, financial data. We enable predictive models to forecast the impact of various parameters such as commodity prices, weather forecasts, prices of substitutes, raw material prices, to attain advantages in sourcing and procurement the net result can be up to 30% improvement in margin. In summary, we're just confident that the strategic application of advanced analytics and data science can help you as an Acumatica customer gain greater speed, greater agility, greater foresight in these uncertain times. Reach out to Miles Mahoney. He's our UBIX Chief Revenue Officer, and schedule a discovery call. Miles will help you understand the value opportunity of applying advanced analytics from the front office to the back office, from customer analytics to financial analytics, demand forecasting, inventory replenishment, procurement, and more. We then prioritize high-value use cases and scope the work and kick off a project. In closing, the opportunities are endless, the ROI is significant, so act now.
To it, everybody take care, have a great day.
Thank you, have a great day.
Thanks everyone.
Bye-bye.